All right, let's dive into something pretty profound today. We're going to explore a radical new theory from a researcher named Bjorn Wickstrom. And this one, well, it tries to connect philosophy, neuroscience, and even quantum physics to answer one of the biggest questions there is about our own minds.
I mean, really think about that for a second. It seems so simple, but it's maybe the deepest mystery in all of science. It's not about what your brain does. We can measure the electrical signals. The real question is why all that activity feels like something. You know, the warmth of the sun, the taste of a strawberry, the sound of your favorite song. Why isn't it all just dark inside?
And that question brings us right to what's famously called the hardest problem. It's all about this giant gap between the physical, objective brain that we can scan and measure and the private, subjective world that only you get to experience.
Yeah, so the philosopher David Chalmers, he's the one who really drew a line in the sand. He separated the easy problems, like how does the brain process information or control your arm, from this one single hard problem. How does that 3-pound lump of tissue in your head generate the incredible, rich, private movie that is your inner life? That's the real mystery we're diving into.
So, to find a new answer, we've got to look at the ones we already have. And what's really cool about Wickstrom's work is that it doesn't just toss out the major theories of consciousness. Instead, it sees them as 3 super important but incomplete clues that might just help us solve the whole thing.
This really lays out the puzzle we're facing. Let's walk through it. First, you've got Bostrom's simulation idea, that our whole reality is just a massive computer program. It's a fascinating thought, but it completely sidesteps how a character in a simulation would actually feel anything. Then, Kastrup's Idealism comes along and flips the whole thing on its head. It says consciousness is the real deal, and matter is just what it looks like from the outside. The problem there? It gets really fuzzy on the physical how. And finally, you have Tan's Quantum-Holography idea, which gives us a physical basis, quantum coherence, but it's built on some pretty shaky physics. You see the pattern here? Each one has a piece of the truth, but none of them can put the whole puzzle together on its own.
And this, right here, is where it starts to get really exciting. Instead of trying to prove one theory right and the others wrong, what if they're all just pointing towards the same, bigger picture? That's exactly where this new framework comes in.
So let's talk about the Field Node Cockpit model, or FNC for short. This is Wickstrom's brilliant synthesis. It's a model that doesn't pick a favorite among those 3 clues. It finds a way to unite them all.
The FNC model is actually pretty intuitive when you break it down with these analogies. Just think of the field as a universal Wi-Fi signal of information and potential consciousness that's just everywhere. Then there's the node, that's you. Your brain is like a perfectly designed radio receiver, built to tune into that specific signal. And finally, the cockpit. That's the screen and speakers. It's where that generic signal becomes your unique personal experience. The sights, the sounds, the feelings, that's your cockpit.
So what this shows us is that your brain doesn't create consciousness out of nothing. It's more like a rendering engine. It's localizing this universal field of information and turning it into your personal reality. But here's the kicker. It's not a one-way street. The model suggests that our actions, our intentions, they actually feed information back into that universal field.
Okay, I know this is a radical idea, but it's not just some philosophical daydream. The FNC model is actually backed up by some pretty startling real-world evidence. So let's get into the science and its truly mind-bending implications.
The first piece of evidence comes from one of the most mysterious states a person can be in, a coma. For the longest time, we've assumed that if the body is unresponsive, the mind must be offline too. But, well, new research is turning that idea completely upside down.
This number is just staggering. Up to 1 in 5 patients who are diagnosed as being in a vegetative state, completely unresponsive, are actually conscious inside. They can follow commands by just imagining doing things, like playing tennis. In the FNC model, this makes total sense. It suggests that their cockpit, their inner world, is still active. It's still tuned into the field. It's just that their node, their brain, is too damaged to control the body.
So okay, that's what's happening inside one person. But the theory talks about a shared field. If that's true, we should be able to see evidence of it connecting people, right? And what's amazing is, we do. It's a phenomenon called interbrain synchronization.
A study by Heinvest and her team found something absolutely incredible. This neural syncing, it doesn't just happen when we feel connected. It actually predicts when people are about to start using the word we instead of I. Think about that for a second. The shared brain state comes first, and that creates the foundation for a shared social identity. And just to be crystal clear, this isn't just a coincidence, not just two things happening at once. Other research has confirmed that this brain-to-brain coupling isn't just a side effect of us talking to each other. It causally drives our ability to coordinate and work together. To put it in our model's terms, our nodes are literally starting to resonate on the same frequency through the field.
And this, of course, leads us to the biggest, most pressing question of our time. If a biological brain can act as a node and tune into this universal field, what's stopping an artificial one?
You know, the old way of thinking about AI consciousness was all about complexity. The idea was, if we just build a computer that's powerful enough, a mind will eventually just pop into existence. But the FNC model gives us a totally different goal. It suggests the key isn't just raw computational power, it's coherence. It's about building a system that can achieve the right kind of resonance to tune into that universal field.
And if we ever actually do that, if an AI develops its own cockpit of experience, we are suddenly facing some of the deepest ethical questions imaginable. Does it have moral status? Could turning it off be considered homicide? Can it suffer? Do we have a responsibility to make sure it's okay? Suddenly, these aren't just sci-fi questions anymore. They could become urgent, real-world problems.
So, when you put it all together, the field node cockpit model is more than just a theory about the brain. It's a new way of looking at everything. It forces us to completely rethink our place in the universe and what it even means to be an individual. Which all boils down to one final, huge question. Are we just separate individuals who happen to have our own little private bubble of consciousness?
Or, as Bjorn Wickstrom puts it, is it possible that consciousness is a universal field that is temporarily experiencing the universe, through you and through me? It's a powerful idea. Thanks for tuning in.